An article by the city leader marking the 5th anniversary of the implementation of the Hong Kong national security law. The Secretary for Justice talks about soft resistance. Hello, you're watching TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. Today is the 5th anniversary of the implementation of the Hong Kong national security law. Chief Executive John Lee thanked the central government for restoring Hong Kong's social stability and economy. To mark the occasion, the CE wrote an article in multiple local newspapers. Lee expressed his gratitude to the central government for acting decisively at a critical moment to introduce the NSL. He says society has since become stable and prosperous while people's lives are protected. In a separate statement, the government says the work of safeguarding national security is an ongoing commitment, and authorities will boost publicity and education efforts to raise public awareness of national security. Secretary for Justice Paul Lam said soft resistance does not have a rigid definition. He also said the term isn't a concept that can be used generally. Mimo Singhai reports.
During his inspection trip to Hong Kong, Director of the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office Xia Baolong said soft resistance remains in the city. Speaking to the media, Secretary for Justice Paul Lam said the term does not have a fixed definition, but he says several factors can help determine if an action is considered to be soft resistance, including the means and the motive of a person.
We have to consider very carefully how to respond to this sort of soft resistance, assuming that there are false accusations against the government or wholly irrational opinion being expressed against the government, then our response is to refute or to clarify the situation to make sure that members of the general public, including people outside Hong Kong, will not be misled.
The government has added national security conditions to nearly 20 types of licenses and permits, including restaurants. When asked if the measure could restrict human rights and freedom, Lam disagreed and said that society is allowed to express different opinions. He added that national security would eventually affect personal safety, and if the latter is at risk, human rights and freedom do not hold much significance. In March, the Court of Final Appeal ruled in favor of the now-defunct Hong Kong Alliance in support of patriotic democratic movements of China, removing its members' convictions of failing to comply with a national security police data request. Lam said authorities are studying methods to amend the relevant ordinance. The Justice Chief said careful consideration must be conducted before amendments can be carried out on any pieces of legislation. Memos 9, TVB News.
Secretary for Transport and Logistics Mabel Chan visited Guangzhou today to discuss the details of the southbound travel for Guangdong vehicle scheme. This includes permission for such vehicles to enter Hong Kong's urban areas. Chan and Commissioner for Transport Angela Lee spoke with Guangdong provincial authorities about the implementation of the measure earlier today. Both parties discussed details of permitting Guangdong vehicles to enter Hong Kong via the automated car parks on the Hong Kong Port Island near the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, as well as handling immigration procedures in the city. The transport chief noted earlier in an interview that authorities are aiming to launch the scheme this year, but will set limits on the amount of vehicles crossing the border in consideration of the city's land area. China is reportedly planning to invite U.S. President Donald Trump to a military parade scheduled for September 3rd in Beijing. President Xi Jinping had invited Trump to visit China again during their phone call earlier this month, and Trump reciprocated the invitation. Kyodo News reported Beijing's intention to invite Trump for commemorations and a military parade to be held in Tiananmen Square, marking 80 years since the end of World War II and victory against Japanese aggression. Russian President Vladimir Putin and other world leaders are expected to attend the event. Sources say the U.S. government has also proposed a visit by the Chinese leader in the same month, which coincides with a UN General Assembly meeting in New York. If either of the proposals materializes, it will be Trump's first in-person meeting with Xi since he returned to the White House. 2 firefighters were killed and a third wounded when a man shot them with a rifle in a mountainous area of northern Idaho in the U.S. This happened when firefighters were responding to reports of a hill fire. The gunman was later found dead by the local sheriff's office. Tracy Furness has more.
A resident of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, shared this video Sunday. White smoke rising from behind trees. Sirens heard in the distance as a helicopter flies overhead. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office said crews responded to a fire at Canfield Mountain, just north of Coeur d'Alene, around 1:30 p.m. Gunshots were reported about half an hour later. 2 firemen were shot and killed and 1 seriously wounded. The incident lasted about an hour. More than 300 law enforcement officers from the city, county, state and federal levels responded to the scene of the shooting. In a briefing while the incident was still taking place, Sheriff Bob Norris said officials believed the 2 people killed were fire personnel, adding that residents were being evacuated off the mountain.
We still have civilians that are coming off of that mountain. We might have civilians that are stuck or in shock on that mountain. We are actively taking sniper fire as we speak. This is an active situation. We have multiple agencies that are on scene, from local and federal authorities.
Police believe the gunman set fire to ambush the first responders. His motive was unknown. The gunman was later found dead. Police did not release his name. Coeur d'Alene is a city of 55,000 residents and is near the border with Washington. It is a popular hiking and biking area with trails leading into the national forest. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Still ahead, first 2 batches of tickets for visiting the Shandong aircraft carrier quickly snapped up. A red taxi used by 2 Hong Kongers in America to introduce Hong Kong culture to the world. And Salt Lakes in Qinghai help drive the province's economic growth. Welcome back. The first 2 batches of tickets for visiting the Shandong aircraft carrier were snapped up in just 1 minute after reservations began earlier today. The Chinese aircraft carrier and 2 other military vessels will make their way to the city on Thursday and remain open to visitors during the weekend. Timothy Lee tells us more.
Hong Kong's military enthusiasts will have the chance to board the PLA Navy Shandong aircraft carrier and 2 accompanying vessels on Saturday and Sunday. A total of 10,000 tickets are offered, with 2,000 allocated to the Shandong and 8,000 for the Zhanjiang guided missile destroyer and the Yuncheng guided missile frigate. To reserve a visit on the vessels, residents have to select the services category on the PLA Hong Kong Garrison's public WeChat account, where they can find the vessel visitation option. Reservations can be made each day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Each person is restricted to reserving a maximum of 2 tickets. Earlier today, TVB News tried to reserve a ticket for the Shandong vessel at 10 a.m., but the platform indicated that tickets for all time slots were snapped up in less than a minute. Another attempt was made at 3 p.m., but all 8 time slots for visits to the Shandong aircraft carrier were also fully reserved in just around a minute. This as the ticket was successfully reserved for visiting the Zhanjiang and Yuncheng vessels. The 3 warships will dock near Kaoyuqiao. Residents who are unable to secure a ticket but still wish to see the military vessels can view them from a distance in locations such as Saiwan, Ma Wan, and the Hong Kong Disneyland Resort Pier. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
China has reopened its market to seafood from Japan. This after a nearly 2-year ban over the discharge of radioactive wastewater from the tsunami-destroyed Fukushima nuclear power plant. A notice from the customs agency said the ban had been lifted on Sunday and that imports from most of Japan would be resumed. The ban, imposed in August 2023, was a major blow to Japan's fisheries industry. China is the biggest overseas market for Japanese seafood, accounting for more than 1/5 of its exports. The ban will remain in place for seafood from 10 of Japan's 47 prefectures, including Fukushima and nearby ones. The nuclear plant at Fukushima was heavily damaged by a deadly tsunami in 2011. Japanese officials said the wastewater would be safer than international standards and have negligible environmental impact. Two Hong Kongers who've moved to America hope to introduce Hong Kong culture to the world. They've modified a secondhand car into a Hong Kong taxi lookalike and made a documentary of it for a global audience. Mimo Singhai reports.
A red taxi. It is not in Hong Kong, but in Los Angeles, California. Why? It's all because of Joseph. Born in Hong Kong 26 years ago, Joseph moved with his family to America at the age of 3. He misses his birthplace so much that in 2023, he modified a second-hand Toyota Crown into this red taxi.
It represents home and, my culture. At heart, I'm still a Hong Konger, and it just reminds me of my roots and my family, my culture.
On weekends, Joseph will take his taxi for a spin to Chinese communities around LA.
It's like a physical reminder, something to show people that I'm from Hong Kong.
Jay is a documentary director. He came to the US after graduating from secondary school in Hong Kong. Recently, he filmed the story of Joseph and his taxi. Jay said with Hong Kong undergoing rapid development, many things are quietly disappearing, including Toyota Crown taxis. He said people in Hong Kong may not notice the changes, but Hong Kongers living overseas who treasure their past life experiences are often more aware of the changes. Memos 9, TVB News.
From mineral extraction to biking tourism, Qinghai's lakes have helped drive the province's economic growth. In this 5th episode of our series, Jackie Lin visits 2 landmark lakes in Qinghai to explore how they balance ecological and tourism goals.
Nestled near the eastern end of Chaidan Basin, Chakao's Salt Lake's real beauty earns itself the nickname the Mirror of the Sky. Tourist trains glide through this otherworldly terrain of brine and salt crystals. Transporting visitors to the world's largest outdoor salt sculpture group. Qinghai boasts 150 plus salt lakes with 85% of the whole country's lake salt reserves. Chaka alone produces 1.2 million tons annually. Local authorities said they are setting their sights on building a global salt industry tourism hub to boost local incomes. Last year, Chaka hosted 2.4 million visitors.
The salt crystals in the lake are very coarse, and the salt concentration of the water is very high. So in order to protect yourself, you need to wear these shoe covers.
Biking tourism around Qinghai Lake fuels another lakeside economy with the influx of cyclists, especially during international races. It's not just couples who pedal along the 360-kilometer lakeside route. Families too. She says cycling trains her son the value of resilience. Wheels turn and so do the other supporting sectors, from catering to bike rental services and first aid stations. This lake cycling service base manager said at an altitude of 3,200 meters, support vehicles are vital for the safety and emergency repair work along the 4 to 5 day long cycling route. Jackie Lin, TVB News, Qinghai.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Pearl Magazine is up shortly. See you then.